Hey Shooby Doodlers, how are you doing? This is the Armadillo. I'm going to paint. I'm going to turn it into a mug, maybe a t-shirt, that kind of thing, which you can get links down below. Let's not talk about it. Let's do it. And I have decided that I'm going to do kind of a collection of. I'm going to do an ABC basically of animals, and put them on mugs and things like that, just for fun. So I've done a little bit of kind of practice. There we go. And yeah, let's do that. So this is going to be kind of a 9-banded armadillo if you're Spanish or whatever, from places where armadillos come from. So I'm going to try and do this 9-banded thing. So there's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Just makes his body start looking really long. And 7 and 8 and 9. And I just realised it's a little bit weird in the camera because I'm recording this upside down. Never mind. Right, so he's going to have little legs coming out here and really sharp digging claws. Pretty lethal looking things, really. And to do like that. And we need to have a tail coming out there as well, don't we? Coming out there. I've done a bit of a practice on this a couple of times, and I'm changing over to a different thickness. So normally you'll see me use a 0.3, a Rotring Tikky graphic 0.3, and I'm going to use a 0.2. You'll find links for Rotring things here on Amazon down below. Because I just found it was just getting a bit too heavy, and we want this to be a little bit more delicate, so I'm going to just change to a slightly finer pen like that. And we're going to want to have, let me think, I think we're going to do like a curve, so we want a bit of a curve in these lines, to give that sort of feeling of curve to the whole body as well. And I'm kind of they're not equidistant, are they? But never mind. So then we want to go crossways, and again doing this kind of curving thing, which I think then wants to start curving around the other way a bit like that. And then we want to put some kind of pattern into these 9 bands. So this could get a little bit boring. So maybe I'll just speed through this bit. And then we're going to want this curved line thing happening on the back panel here, again, like that. And then I think we're going to want that kind of curving around that way. Let's take that all the way there. And maybe just slightly curving around there. And then we're also going to want to have this tail, and we've got a bit of kind of hairiness sticking down there. They've got little hairy tummies, and I'm going to put a little bit of shadow in on the legs, I think, there, and I'll do that with my 0.2, so it's not too kind of intimidating, and sort of overbearing is probably a better word. And I'm going to put a little bit into the ears as well, like that. And then I think we're going to want to have some sort of ground that is on there. Because I'm painting in watercolour, I want to make sure it's nice and dry, so I use my hairdryer, and I'm using my faithful, trusty Winsor & Newton paint box, which I've had for many, in fact my first week at art college. I'm going to start with a bit of Naples yellow. People who follow me know I love my Naples yellow, but I'm going to Maybe put a little bit of alizarin in there, maybe a little bit of neutral tint. And this isn't the right colour at all, is it? Because it's just grey. But I want a kind of a warm grey, so that's why I put that Naples yellow in there. And so if I do that kind of panel there, and then get a bit more neutral tint to just kind of work my way in there, maybe drop a few little blobs in, and then we'll do the same here, and we'll, as I say, we'll kind of get a bit of neutral tint. So that brings us into that kind of grey kind of thing, but then I'm just going to drop some little blobs in, and again I'm just going to do these bands, and again get some neutral tint, and that's just to get this kind of shading sort of feel around there like that. I think that's probably all it needs for the moment, so I'll let that dry. Now obviously this is a cartoon, so it doesn't have to be wildly accurate. And so I'm going to, oh, that's a lot of neutral tint, and a little bit of, I kind of just blend and mix and bits as I go along and see how I like things and try things. That's what I'm doing. And so I'm going to come around the eye. Clean my brush. So this is a Pentel Aquash water brush. You can get all sorts of other brands, but I particularly like this, and I only ever use this size, which is their broad size. And I find it, I can do everything with this one brush, which might just be laziness. I hadn't actually considered that before, but I don't know. It's just convenient, particularly when you're sketching. I think if you go out sketching, then you just need the one brush, and you don't have to think about anything else. I think also you get intimately acquainted with a tool if you use it a lot, and the more you use one tool, the more you become kind of partners, and you know what it's going to do, and it knows what you're going to do. And you can just kind of do it. Whereas if you have to keep thinking, oh, shall I change to this brush? Shall I change to that brush? Then, So I'm going to have a bit more neutral tint, just make that a bit more dark. I should put a little bit of, try to get a bit of Naples yellow in there, but let's probably just smudge that up, and just that little hint of it underneath, which I don't like, so I'm just going to dab that a bit. And then we want these claws coming down here. And in case some people go, whoa man, you go too fast. This is, I'm not speeding up or anything like that. This is the speed that I work at. It's just kind of, it's not making it up as you go along, because I think it's just years of experience, a lot of it, isn't it? But it's it's adjusting and just doing it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, so, so if it doesn't work, then I have to stop and start again, which is how it works. So I'm going to put little kind of blobs into these things here, and then try and make them a bit lighter there. So I think I'll probably have to do this along the bottom level, all on the same kind of tone. And I'm just dabbing really, so it's not a brush stroke, it's a brush dab. And then I'm going to thin it down. There's water in the brush which flows through, so as I'm squeezing a bit, the water flows through, and so now these should be a little bit lighter. So I'll do kind of little section of lighter bits there, and then I think again we'll do a little section of lighter bits again up at the top, so they'll just kind of fade out at the top there. And then we're going to want to do something similar around the bottom. Now, in fact, I think I'm probably doing this exactly the opposite way around, and I could have used what do you call it, a wax pencil in here to sort of reverse out, but that's not what I'm going to do. Maybe another time. So maybe I'm planning on doing a whole alphabet of animals. And by the way, if you watch this far, then in the comments box below, the next one is obviously going to be B. So what animal do you think I should do that starts with the letter B? I haven't actually made my mind up yet, so yeah, you might be able to influence my choice. I'm just going to keep dabbing along here, I think. Yeah. And we need to do some here as well, I think. So yeah, so as I said, it's not an accurate armadillo, is it? It's a kind of cartoony version, and you can, and I think that's the nice thing, you can sort of adapt and change it to how you want it to be in your own sort of cartoony style, which I've been developing for years and years and years and years. Have a little bit of shadow underneath there. I think I want a bit more shadow around the eyes, because I haven't actually started to work on the eyes yet, have I? And and I've humanized this. I'm giving it lovely white teeth with a little bit of sort of shadow on there. I think we probably want a bit more dark in there. Yeah, so, and also I'm going to put this on a mug, if you want to get the mug, and the t-shirt and all that kind of thing, because you can do that now. And I just feel comfortable when I'm drawing having animals facing this way, but on a mug it needs to be turned around the other way. So I don't know whether that changes the character of the character by having him facing round the other way. We'll just have to see. And it's just a lot of dib dab, and building up in a kind of a impressionist, pointillist style, I suppose. I need to do the eye, but first I'm going to do the ground. I think have a bit of that's a bit bright, isn't it? Like that. And then I think that needs to come into a kind of a muddiness. I'm going to give a bit of ochre in there, and then we'll just bring a bit of kind of ochre to bear. Why am I using the word to bear? I don't know. There, because it rhymes with there. So I've got a bit of sort of ochreness blending into the grassiness like that. And then now I can really come to work on the eye. So I want this to be in, I don't think they have bright yellow eyes at all probably, but it just makes it look more friendly, I think, if I do. I'm probably going to touch this eye up a bit on Photoshop for to make it into a mug, I think. And I'm going to get a little bit of neutral tint shade in down here as well, underneath these claws, like that. And I think that is going to be it. Let me zoom in. Or maybe a little bit of darker up around the ears again. That could be a little bit more shade under there, and I think maybe just that little bit more darkness underneath and on the darker edges of these talons. And there you go, how to draw and paint an armadillo. follow the links, get yourself a mug or a t-shirt or something. And in the meantime, keep drawing, drawing, drawing. Practice, practice, practice. And I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye-bye.